Mazele wakura, wala sobia zako ni gano na ya uko kalwape. Ino ne wala tapia dalapo, mano la ya uko kalwape. Waze wanumwe tondo tuapi wakawapi naudu nakoke nandaka. Maya wasape tanuabe. Kami bunu wapiano e kalona. Abe papa kanono maya abe kwaya nisebe. Zoya mukatibo nawe. Laka yido kala rita blano. Yenya no ye sutasiwa. Yekojo yawane. Zambi uzolo yaro. Wakojo. Bapa po mi bayani kajaro. Yawe. Leinu yawe wakojo semu. Mama Esther Griso yepone, yawanuile. Mose me abo yepone, yawanuile uda. Papa Anjuba yepone, yawanuile.
Good evening to all. Welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. I'm Afonso Zay, and so right here, this beautiful evening here, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. The maritime is on. To welcome to the show, we take you if you are from Nima. We say welcome to the show this evening. In a special, the Examiner. We say a big thank you to our contributor this evening, Minister Elijah. Your time is fast spent, so let's get the ball rolling. What a beautiful music. I gotta call my friend from Nima to give me the full interpretation of what it says and what it means. Well, folks, we said good evening. It's better late than never. We're having a little technical problem, but the deal is done. My guest is here, back studio, so we will be having a conversation right here. I have no idea what is conversation, but we allow it to come from the house's mouth. I am your lead host on the Diaspora Informative News Outlet, Liberia Public Radio, keeping it fair, balanced, and proportional. Welcome to the show. Good evening. To welcome, if this is a first time, we say you are wholeheartedly welcome. You are on the official news outlet of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. A beautiful Friday evening right here in the East Coast. If you are in Liberia, we say good morning. Right here in the USA, Europe, wherever you are, we say good morning. I have no idea what this conversation, how you're going to go, the purpose of this conversation, but eventually we will get to know. Seeing this building here, one could make an educated guess that these conversations will take us somewhere. Well, I have no time to waste. I'm interested, you as well. Let me just bring in my guest, an educator, deeply involved in wide range multitudes of roles, but he will introduce himself. Introductions is not my favorite because in the process of introducing, you tend to leave out some good pieces of information. So that is so. kill the substance of the conversation. Let me bring in Dr. George P. Gonpu. He's here with me this evening, making his first appearance right here in the special editions of the Examiner. And we want to examine everything right here, right now. So welcome to the show. Let me just bring in my guest, and we will get the conversation going here. Okay. Dr. Gonpu, so good evening. Welcome to the Liberia Public Radio. Good to have you here. Good that you reached out for us to have the conversation. But you are the perfect person to unveil the nature of these conversations, and we'll scramble over here to get more details while you are here this evening. Good to have you here. Thank you for reaching out to LPR.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Am I in studio?
You are in studio. You are audible, loud and clear.
Oh, but I can't see you.
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah. I was seeing you loud and clear. You are audible. You're not seeing me?
No.
Okay, let me get you off the screen.
Okay, I can see you now.
Okay, you can see me because I have those extra glasses here to send virtually.
Yeah, I can see you now.
Okay. All right, Di. Good evening again. Good to have you here. Thank you so much for. I believe this is the first time appearing on this network. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So interesting to note. Something must be somewhere. But like, introduce yourself quickly, and we'll get right down to the wire.
Yes. Thank you so much. And thank you for letting me on your platform. My name is Dr. George Parkinson Gonpu. I am here to have a conversation regarding my candidacy for the senatorial seat in Nimba County. I am a son of Nimba, and I was born in Nimba, grew up in Nimba, got education.
Hold on one second.
Liberia, and then after that, I had a stint in government where I worked.
Why keep moving?
To the late Honorable David Doyen. And then I also had another year of service at the Liberia Electricity Corporation and a year of service at the University of Liberia as a teaching assistant before I went on to graduate school. I am a macroeconomist, and I am a college professor. I've served as a professor in the area of international finance, banking, money, and statistics at a number of universities across the United States, including Hunter College in New York City, Grand Valley State University in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I've worked as an instructor at the University of Illinois in Chicago. In industry, I've worked in AT&T as an economic consultant. And then I returned to Liberia for almost 2 years, more than 2 years actually, where I served as the budget director of the Republic and as deputy finance minister for budget during Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's first first term as president. And now I have worked with youth organizations in the country. In Liberia, I founded the Youth Development Network that was basically providing educational services to young people for free. And then after that, we founded the African Democratic Movement of Liberia, which is a registered political party in Liberia. And I attempted running for the presidency. And withdrew from the race in 2023. And now here I am running for the senatorial seat that is vacant in Nimba. So I'm happy for the chance to come on your platform to have a conversation with you.
Okay, you see, what you will quite agree with me in introducing yourself. You actually put it into context and give the audience a clear and precise of yourself, knowing who you are. First of all, so I want to say thank you again so much for reaching out to have this conversation, and thank you for all that you have done for our country and even outside of the country. So I don't know which one you prefer. You want me to call you Dad? You want to call me to call you Professor? So which way you want us to go?
I'm very flexible. You can call me George. You can call me whatever you want to call me.
You know,
So I'm very
like
flexible.
people, yeah, I know that like when people, for most people, you don't mess around with your title or whatever. But I like
No,
your accommodation to you're very flexible. Okay, good. Good to have you here again. Thank you so much for being here. Here on LPR, we tend to have a proportional conversation, fair questions in our view. We don't usually ask the question that you desire or the audience will please the audience, but we tend to discuss the issue, the substance, and not necessarily to entertain people. So I'm happy most of these people, they don't like to come here because they want us to draw pre-draft questions. It's fair to have an agenda, but we don't do that. But I would say thank you so much to come to being here. Okay, very impressive resume to work experience and all of that is unquestionable. I'm not going to waste my time. I want to focus on the substance. Do you recognize this building that behind me here?
Yes, that's the Capitol building. It looks like the Capitol building. I think it is.
It looks like the Capitol building.
In Liberia.
In Liberia. That's where you intend to go, right?
Right.
What is the uniqueness? Why would you want to go? Capitol building, most people see it to be polarized, divisive. There are a lot of definition with respect to Capitol building. With respect to see what we're seeing unfolding, what is happening. It is very, very much amazing and unbelievable. What are you going to do there?
Oh, I am interested in going to the Capitol building to be a member of the legislature. I think the legislature is very important to the survival, the strength, and the development of our country. We call ourselves a democracy. We are a constitutional democracy. We are operating under a constitution that came into effect in 1986, 85, 86. And that constitution sets up our government as having three branches, co-equal. And one of the principal branches is the legislature. So that legislature is critical in lawmaking, in policy making, in providing oversight over the executive. The executive enforces the law. The legislature generally makes the law. And in a democracy, the rule of law matters. So the quality of life in our country depends on the strength, the viability, and the operation of the legislature. The president cannot do anything. The president cannot spend money without the legislature approving of it. So basically, the president's office to build roads, to pay the police, pay the army, those things are done through legislation, through the budget. And the legislature does not agree to that spending package, the president cannot spend. So you see how critical the legislature is. When it comes to appointment of the cabinet, deputy minister, assistant minister, full ministers of each of those cabinet, of each of those ministries, it is required under the Constitution that the president must get the advice and consent of the Senate in order for those appointments to become legal. So you can see how important the legislature is. So what is happening at the legislature now in terms of the turmoil in the lower house, in the House of Representatives, it is really just a reflection of leadership problem, personality fighting against one another, and all of that. And that's why it is important to begin to introduce some new blood and some new faces and some new expertise in the legislature. Because sometimes people think that the legislature is just for the title. There's a lot of work there. Take, for example, our international relationships. All of these big corporations that we depend on that for the strength of our economy. Take ArcelorMittal. Take the other company, China Union, Western Cluster. Any company that wants to come into Liberia, the executive will begin the conversation. Any major corporation, the executive will begin the conversation. And when they have some type of proposed understanding, that has to be taken to the legislature, and the legislature has to review it, look at Liberia's interest in it, analyze what they are proposing, analyze what they're offering, and give their consent. And when they do that, before it can be enacted into law for that corporation to come into Liberia to begin to mine our resources.
Okay, I'm paying key attention to and your analysis with respect to how the first branch here works. But you did mention something, leadership, and talking about these concessions, these big corporations. And it is true that it is executive initiate this conversation, the analysis, the fun, reviewing, it's ultimately come from the legislature there. So when you say leadership, what specifically which leadership are you referring to, Dr. Gonpu?
When I talk about leadership, I'm talking about people who make decisions, who make policies, who make the rules, who implement the rules. So you can see what is happening in the House. There's disagreement on what the rule says. The rule says to remove a speaker from office, you need 2/3 majority. And 2/3 majority meaning that 2/3 of the number of people in the legislature.
Right. Just 2/3.
2/3 majority, right? So now when you apply that to the 73 that are there, you would not get a round number. So they just round that number off and say 49. And you have a situation where it is reported that 42 of the legislators, of the members of the House of Representatives, want the speaker removed, and the speaker insists that, argues that no, the Constitution says 49, and now you don't have 49, and therefore you don't have what is required. So you just have a differences in the interpretation of what the Constitution says. And again, leadership is important for conflict resolution, for peace building, for reconciliation. These things cannot just be done in a vacuum. The Constitution will play its role to provide an outline, to provide a set of rules, but when it comes to interpretation, implementation, common sense, and reasonableness. That's where leadership comes in, to begin to build bridges and to begin to look at a bigger picture as we execute from day to day in our operation.
Okay. All right. At some point in time, we'll go in depth by just trying to do a quick run through. But someone's listening to you, let me just take you in your own county, Nimba, or even in the diaspora from Nimba, and they might be scratching their head. The perceptions and seeing what is happening now, people going in the legislature. Uh, we're saying from time to time, people rush into the like bring people money, people get rich overnight, fabulous paid benefits and all of that. Someone there, oh, this is what this diet is going because it's like a that play. If you want things to get done quickly, get in the house. Next day, the next week, your life turned around. How could you easily persuade or bring these people who have this sort of mindset to a convincing point? Because bear in mind their past experience with respect to what is happening now. Why he wants to be, why he wants to go there. He a professor, he could manage the University of Liberia. If there's a community college in Nima County, he could be more effective, even though there's a constitutional right as a Liberian to even contest for the presidency like you attempted in the past. But the mindset of the first branch of government is completely is polluted, and people are upset with what is happening. It will be like he's going to join the Susu Club.
Yeah, I clearly understand why people might have some of the thinking. And myself, I did have some thought about whether I want to get into that type of messy situation. But I realized that this is our country. And the legislature being a place where people are tend to look at it as a hustle ground for people who have not made it anywhere to come and enrich themselves. And when you have this type of situation in any country, that is the time for patriots to rise, because these problems are not going to disappear on their own. Human beings create problems, and it takes human beings to solve problems. Many of the great countries we see around the world, some of the countries with the lowest amount of corruption, they were never born that way. They were not created that way. Their transformation became possible through the actions of their citizens who saw conditions that they did not like. Even the great United States that we sit in. United States have had a very long history, from their colonial history to the history dealing with slavery. And then they've found ways to evolve. But all of the evolution has not just happened because they wrote a great constitution. It took citizens to say, we don't like what we see, and therefore we must take action. And we take action through providing alternative and better forms of leadership, through bringing people in with the character, the integrity, the expertise to bring these skills to bear in serving our people, because our people deserve better. And these are the kinds of things that have inspired me. I have had exposure to the legislature as budget director. I was involved in directly negotiating with legislators, because to formulate the budget, to execute the budget, to make sure the budget gets into law, I had to work as the liaison between the executive branch and the legislature. The legislature has its own Ways and Means Committee. I had to go there to present what the executive had. And through that process, I learned more about some of the challenges they have in the legislature. I learned how the legislature work. And then through working with them, through working with their Ways and Means Committee, we did a number of negotiations every year and at every stage of the way to make sure the budget passes and the budget is executed smoothly. A lot of debates regarding line items and all of those things. So the budget, when the budget is approved, the budget becomes a law. So in that sense, I've had experience really in lawmaking and in these kind of advocacy. So really, it is true that Liberians have reservations, but as an economist, there are so many better things I can do for money making. I am involved, as we said, as we discussed, I'm involved in the financial market here, in investing in stocks and bonds, and these are easier ways for economists to make money. And also, I like business as well. At this point, my professorship right now is in a business school. I'm preparing students to go out to go out to build businesses. So we got entrepreneurship program, we got finance program, we got accounting program, we got economics program. So I can create a business, and I would even like to create a business in Liberia as well. But creating one business that would make you personally rich cannot solve the community-wide problem. It cannot bring one person business, cannot develop a country. If one person becomes a millionaire or a billionaire in a country where 90% of the people are poor, the whole country is still poor. You see? So in order for us to develop the country, we need people who can make good policies, who understand the implication of policy for development to be in that legislature.
So this is, what, we have heard this story over and over. And so sometimes when people hear them, it's like reawaken your trauma, because the politician comes in different forms, in different shape. I'm coming for the people. I'm coming to be the one to change. I'm coming to rescue. I'm coming to redeem you. And by the time we look, those who tend to be the liberator, the victims tend to be the victor, and the victor tends to be the victor. Let me take you back here. You started something by you saying you want ambition to contest the presidency. Do you care to tell me, do you have, I know how you saying political, is that party still existing?
Party still exists. The new party, the African Democratic Movement of Liberia, still exists. Yes.
So,
does exist.
So who's the head of that party? If you care to tell that.
I serve as the standard bearer of the party, the vision bearer of the party. The party also has a chairman who is in Liberia. It has, so many leaders, youth leader, women leader, just the whole 9 yards of a political party. And most of them are in Liberia.
So contesting with the aspiration now to contest for the vacant senatorial seat, is that a party ticket you want to be contesting on?
Yes. Yes, I'll be contesting on a party ticket. And in fact, many of the partisans and other Liberians actually petition me and encourage me as well that we need my service in the legislature.
No, so let's get it right here. I've been seeing a lot of petition here. People petition me, or other people ask people to petition them here. Let's turn the camera off here so that what really took place. You asked the people, or the people out of their own volition say, hey, Dai, we want you to take assignment at this point in Liberia.
Well, I definitely was called. Most of the calling came from a number of different people, really, and it was a decision I had to think about carefully because, again, the reputation of the legislature. I am someone who believes very high integrity. I fight to defend my reputation. The institutions that I've gone to in this country are some of the very best. Northwestern University in Illinois is one of the best in the country. It's one of the most expensive in the country. The quality of education is really, really high. University of Illinois is one of the Big Ten universities, and all these institutions I've taught at. I've taught at Rutgers University, the City University of New York. Whenever you teach at some of these institutions, you build a relationship with them, and when you leave, that relationship remains. So you have to, every step of the way, you have to also watch your character, because when you go offline, it has implications for them as well. So when institutions give you their credentials, these kind of outstanding institutions, when they give you their credentials, you really have to be careful how you use it, because they really look forward to you using it in a way that bring positive reflection on them. And for myself personally, the way I was raised with values that basically say hard work leads to success. You do not become successful overnight by looting your own country or looting your own people and all of that. So my record is very clear. And it is true that corruption is very high in Liberia, and we have so many hustlers who move around. But do you have any examples of people who have come as hustlers with the background that I have, where you are in a tenured position in the United States, which is secure for life? You're making over 6 figures, and then you leave and go to become a hustler. You become a hustler against poor people in Liberia. I mean, with that kind of credential.
Yeah.
You see, so I think when people see me and they hear my candidacy and these questions are raised, the same question was raised 2 days morning when I spoke on radio in Ganta and to the county. The same question was raised. So I think it is now time for us to begin to put these questions in context to say, okay, when last among these people who came hustling, how many of them were university professors in the United States, similar to this guy who we think might be coming to hustle too as well? So I think when we begin to compare orange to orange, then it will be better, because when we use what we see, these people who the person built 2 shops. He went to Dubai, he brought telephone in. Then all of a sudden he started running for the legislature. So these political business people, and they want to expand a lot of them just want to expand their wealth. So that cannot be.
So if this is so, why would you want to go into a system? Are you going there? But let's talk to your constituency, your base. If I say base, the people of Nima County, it is glaring. And we want to see this vacancy of the late Senator Prince Johnson will be heavily contested from all indications. The politics of Liberia is polarized, is divisive, is sectionalized, is tribal as well, not just only to the national, but on the local county level. What is your standing with your people? How do you think they want to receive you? How do you intend to navigate to cut through this cutting edge with the message because the Liberians electors, I've followed it for quite a long time. They have their own determining factors as to who to elect, what you can deliver now what I will bring, uh, uh, in different forms. But how do you intend to kind of like cut through this edge with a NIMBA base? Because ultimately they are the one going to I decide who to be the next senator to replace. And that is a very consequential position because they're going to be looking at different variables. Do you see yourself
Yeah,
fitting that? Do you see yourself
right.
fitting that?
I think you're making a good point. You're making a good point. Cutting through that whole history, the suspicion, the concern about corruption is a big thing. It's a challenging thing. But this is our country. And who's going to solve those problems? I watched Prince Johnson's funeral and I listened to the speech, to the remark, very moving remark that the senator of Grand Jide County, Mr. Nimle, made. That this Prince Johnson was a friend to me, if I'm quoting him correctly. And I see that he has some ambitions which are unfulfilled. The ambition of reaching out to do more for reconciliation, for peace building, beginning with our county, Nimba County and Grand Jide County. And we know, I'm a development economist, macroeconomist. Without peace, without stability, without unity within these countries, it's very difficult for the economy to perform. And my research area is about development and poverty. So I am here in the United States teaching economics, doing economics, and my nation poverty rate is increasing. How do you think I feel?
Okay, so then, yeah,
so that's the challenge I'm looking at. So
okay,
basically, I'm basically saying that look, I listened to that speech, I listened to that remark, and it's like this is a legacy to build on. So it requires wisdom, it requires training, it requires understanding to take that bold stand. That is something good. And if this is a legacy, this kind of legacy of a man who started in the military, who was in the military, who was in the war, who was accused of so many war crimes and all of that, to live the rest of his life this way, where he took 90% or more of what he made and invested in education. Education is about human capital development, which is connected to my research area. So I'm saying this is an opportunity to build on this.
It appears to me, to everyone who might be contestant in Nima County, might take the broomstick of the late Senator Prince Johnson in order to be seen as the next leader. But before coming to that, with your profession and all that you have done, and I did hear you saying the system is failing, the economy, to what is happening now. Have you offered your services to this government? No, wait a minute. I was budget director. Things happening here, even though I'm outside of Liberia, but I'm willing to help. Have you reached out? It's not begging for a job, but for the good of the country, as a patriot, have you made that attempt and somebody just did not pick up your phone call? Or are you waiting to be senator before you start putting
No, I am really concerned about nation building. I'm concerned about contribution because again, those of us who have had the privilege to get what we have, to achieve what we have, especially coming from a very poor background, modest background, parents who didn't have any money, you getting opportunities, scholarships, fellowships to advance yourself, right? All of these things were done with the hope that you will go and serve your country. And service to country does not have to depend on position. In fact, today, when I had a radio interview, one of the interviewer was asking, "You ran for president, why are you coming to this kind of small position?" I mean, some people said that, like, "Oh, we expected you to be president, and now you're coming lower. So what about this?" And the thing is, my passion, what brings me joy is accomplishment. You see a big problem, you step in, you solve the problem, people are smiling, and that is what brings me happiness. So when I even went to Liberia to accept the position that I had in Ministry of Finance as deputy minister, my boss basically had his master's. When I went to, who was the minister? When I went to the Senate for confirmation, and they read through my resume, one of the senators said, "You don't think this position is too small for this man, this kind of resume here to be deputy minister?" And I had to say, "Look, this is about service to country. I measure my progress in terms of what I contribute and not the title, because people can have very big title and they do nothing with the title."
Okay, and that's what I was coming to it. This is the disgusting part of people here, the vetting process, because, and we have seen most of them, some of the funny former senators, they came out publicly. It's like a trading ground. They either say if you don't get the money, you can't get confirmations and all of that. It's judgmental. They're now holding people to standard as to whether you can deliver, how you're going to do, or you want to stand for some ethical values. They do not do that. Now, if you are elected senator, for discussion purposes, Dr. Gonpu, where do you see yourself to be? Where will you caucus?
Oh, our caucus in terms of political party?
Yes.
Well, as I said, we are a post-war nation. Our emphasis need to be on nation building. Our emphasis need to be on bridge building, peace building. All of these political parties are just basically, I would say, some type of vehicle that we use consistent with democratic practices. But most of the people in the legislature, they are not ideologically different. When you ask someone from CDC, if you go to CDC and ICE and CDC and ICE, what is the difference between CDC, ICE or CDC member? He said, "I'm a Daha sedition," or something like that. ICE, what's the difference between CDC, the philosophy of CDC, and the philosophy of another political party like UP? Or nobody will tell you anything. Even before I founded my party, I tried to find out about the other existing political parties. I went around to try to find out what defines this party, and nobody will tell you anything. They'll say, "But this is." They will just tell you this is the Unity Party, or this is the Liberian Action Party, but nothing more. They can tell you in terms of ideological standing, position that defines them, that make them different. So the point is that I can work with anyone as long as we put the nation's interest first, because at the end of the day, that is where our contribution, that is how our contribution will be measured. So, and for me, like you asked the question earlier about Joe Boakai, that is the same way I approach the President Boakai. Given the background that he has come from, given the history he understands, I thought that his leadership would be less partisan, to focus on just reaching across to bring Liberians together. We got poverty problem, which is growing. We got drug addiction problem, which is growing. Yes, the political party play a role, but I thought he would say, "Okay, since you helped me and you're part of my coalition, go and look within your party and bring the best you can bring. Or if you can't find the quality of person I'm looking for, go outside your party and nominate them and let me review them. I've been in touch with him. I went to the inauguration. I mean, just to even get ticket to go to the inauguration, it was like a tug of war. And then when you try to push it further and say, well, we are not in charge yet. We are not in charge. So that has to be put to the feet of the outgoing president. But I didn't even go to the inauguration, even though I flew from here and went to Liberia. I couldn't get a ticket. I mean, it was running around. So, and I could not even, go to his house or something, because again, those handlers think that any Liberian who wants to see the president, who wants to dialogue with the president, to offer ideas, is looking for a job. So, but I have had privileges to interact with him since he became president. I'm part of a Liberian professional organization here, and that organization, I've had some linkages with him. So I've had opportunity to talk to him by Zoom. That's the best I've been able to do, by Zoom. And those conversations have centered around the issue of the whole structuring of government. How has he structured his government so that he can deliver? And I raised questions with him on that. I wanted to get from him what is his.
Has he answered that question?
Yeah, he did. He gave a response. Yes, he gave a response. My question to him was that the tradition across Africa is to focus on personal loyalty, to focus on partisanship, party loyalty, and all of that in the selection of people to head top position in government. And I went further to say that approach has been destructive to Africa's development. And therefore, Africa is lagging. And I said that Liberia is of no exception to this experience. So I said, Mr. President, could you, clarify what's your approach when it comes to selecting people to top positions in your government? How is your approach different or similar? Because I didn't want to accuse him, So I took it from that angle. And his response was that he agrees with me. That's how he started his response. I agree with you. And the fact is that he made a parable. I don't know what a Liberian parable say. He said when a town gets burned, people just show up from all over the place. In fact, he made the same thing. He said the same thing recently, on the air. He said people come from all over claiming that they had a house here, they had a house here. My house was here, it got burned. My house was here, it got burned. And they want help. They want reward because the house got burned. He said that's how it looks when it comes to politics in Liberia. When elections are over, you become president, people just show up from all over and say, how for you, how were you, how campaigning? But he said, but where were you campaigning that we didn't see you? He said, no, I was in Lofa or I was in Grand Gidet. Therefore, you couldn't see me, but I was the one who delivered the Grand Gidet vote. So then he said that then we got all these people want something. So in the end, so we invite all of them and we're watching them. We're watching them to see how they perform. If they can't perform, then we'll kick them out.
Well, I can say that's the result. When yourself is not involved, people just throw people at you because one or two people makes those recommendations, and you yourself as the head, you do not do the follow-up, then it comes down on you. But that's a different game itself. Let's talk Nima. Is there any administrative positions that you disagree with from the late senator when he was senator of Nima County? Was there anything that you disagree with?
Well, I mean, the senator had his own approaches to doing things. And clearly, I'm a critical person. So I don't think in his death I should sit here to recount some of those things that where we disagree. But it is true there were places where we disagree, and then there were places where we agree. But in general, I'm the kind of person who like to, again, build bridges. So my view of him is to see his legacy within the context of the way the latter part of his life, where he showed that he was about the future by taking most of his asset, his personal accumulation, to invest in the education for young people. And to me, that's a message that he was sending about what we need to do, where we need to emphasize in order to have a brighter future, because these young people are the future leaders. If they are not prepared for the challenges, we are doomed. So I think that was a good thing. And then his involvement in religion, is another angle for peace building, because religion, especially Christianity, is about forgiveness and peace building. And that's another asset that we can build on. But all those things about how they executed the war and some of the people who were hurt, I think even reaching out to Samuel Doe's family to be remorseful and to try to build peace, I think that was a good thing. And I gave advice to Prince Johnson as well. I mean, there were times in our own county where some group wanted to be more favored by him, and it was bringing a lot of tension within the county. And so I went to him and told him that there were people accusing you of being one-sided, and basically emphasized to him that you are highly respected across all the different groups in the county. Your success did not come through just your own tribe. So you have to play the twin mother by maybe lying on your back rather than lying on one side. So I gave him some of those kind of advice in some of the areas where I thought that he could do things differently.
How will you, let's create a sort of a contemporary debate here, say by one of the guy who claimed to be the possible replacement for the late Senator Prince Johnson now is Samuel Koga. If you were to face Samuel Koga, now Koga is being perceived, well, he's going to take the mantle, he's going to be the new leader, he's going to be this, and it comes down to politics being tribalized, sectionalized in Liberia. That is an undisputable fact that we're seeing it playing on the national stage and all of that. NIMA is very consequential when it comes to the presidential rate, and everybody will tend to move here. If you were to face Samuel Koga, what do you think you would tell him, looking in his face, that he cannot be senator of Nima County? Instead, you.
I think my view is this: everyone who's running can be senator. Anyone can be senator. What I'm telling the Nimba people is,
what specifically sets you apart from Samuel Koga?
Okay, that's what I'm saying now. Anyone that can be senator. The issue is, what is the person going to bring to the Senate? What impact are they going to bring? Are they going to bring zero impact, negative impact, positive impact? You have a chance to replace Prince Johnson, who was widely known in the society, liked and disliked by various people, nationally, highly liked and loved and cherished by his own people. So this is a significant decision you are about to make. And it should not just be taken lightly. And I believe that's one of the reasons why people don't vote wisely in Liberia. And sometimes they vote on sentiments or they vote on what is in it for them personally. Is also related to voters' education. We're not having these conversations about what these positions are about. What is a senator supposed to do? What is the job function of a senator? What is the job function of a member of the House of Representatives? So if you are going to be the employer, if you don't know the responsibilities of the job you're trying to fill, how do you make a wise decision?
Look, Liberia politics is dirty, and you want to take a diplomatic role here. You don't want. I know politicians or people don't want to hurry, whatever base. That's not a beauty pageant you're going for. Samuel Koga will come and tell you, say, hey, the reason I'm using him because he's managed to portray himself and he's being seen as the unstoppable guy now. So with all of the jumping and stuff he was doing, I don't agree with it, but. Politicians to do anything to get the people that will see him like a person who can stand up for them. So I don't think you want to go into a contest and tell the person get a ring on neck. When a man get a bus about that's why you want to say it. So I'm asking you because he's going to come back. He's in a house. He has the experience. Now, when it comes to that, the experience is more there than you. So how do you convince the Nimba voters that he cannot be? That's the question I'm asking.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When you think about it, definitely he has his strength and he has his weaknesses. I have my strength and I have my weaknesses. So we need to lay out to the voters and let them make a choice. I'm not desperate. It's not a do or die for me. This is about service to nation. And I'm saying here are the problems. One of the things that we have done, even before I got into the race, I asked my supporters some questions. Do people need the kind of leadership that I bring? Are Nimbayans looking for somebody with high integrity, with high expertise, someone who wants to elevate the county to a global stage, someone who wants to make the county to be a model for development in the country? Is this the kind of leader they're looking for? Or they want a traditional leader who's just been there? Okay? So Koga, for example, he been in the house for over 13 years. And even his supporters, when you even ask them, give me one policy proposal that Koga has ever spoken about on the floor of the House of Representatives. Give me one example of a bill or an idea regarding how to elevate his constituency that he has proposed. I'm not even saying pass legislation, but that he has proposed in the House. People will just tell you that this is not what this is about. So now the Nimba people have to decide. I am saying that it's time for a new dispensation. We are not going to go.
Are you prepared this fight you are about to take on? Are you prepared for all of the kitchen sink, the rare meat, and all that want to come? Are you prepared? Koga will come say, hey, I led a revolution to remove the speakers. How is that something you're going to kind of beating on when you were to face him like in a debate? Do you support that in the first place?
Well, they bring it on. Can Koga debate me? Can he debate me? Because you debate people, especially when you are the incumbent, you're running on record. Where is the record? Where is the record? So how you will come to a debate? You will come to a debate to say what? Oh, I've been there for 12 years. I got you talking about experience. I have, as budget director, taking the budget from zero to a full budget and pass it through the House, negotiating with the Ways and Means Committee, presenting to the House, presenting to the Cabinet, and making sure the budget goes from the House to the Senate to the President and putting it into law, right? So I've done that for a number of years, balancing the budget. These are laws. The budget is not just a piece of paper. Once you get it through the legislature and the president signs it, it goes into a handbill, it becomes a law of the republic. So in that sense, I have not been a legislator, but I have participated in making law under my name. So if you come to debate, give me an example of one law that you propose and work on. So I'm telling the Nimba people that this is not just a title that somebody should just be giving because they're related to the falling senator, or because they and the senator come from the same town, or they come from the same family. You know, this is not a dynasty.
So, and that's exactly what I was coming to. I was talking about how the politics of Liberia now, on the national scale, it's been tribalized, it's been sectionalized. One group of people say, well, that one person was there, that was seat. I don't know what, but what it means. And it's all about the numbers. Are you worried about that?
I am not worried about that because I know what I'm bringing to the table. I just basically need to engage my people and say, these are, election is about making a choice. It's about making a choice. We should clearly educate them to know the consequences of making this choice. You see, you gotta say to Koga is not in a enviable position. Okay, he is the chairman of the group that broke away, that have contributed to the situation that exists in the House of Representatives. He's the chairman of that group. So now, does it make sense for you to walk away from the House when they think has not even been, you have not even solved this one problem? You walking away, you saying, okay, send me to the Senate. I've done this is my major accomplishment in the House. We got now two different possible speakers. Now elevate me, let me go to the Senate, right?
I know politicians very difficult to take decisions because Liberian politicians are not known of taking political risk. Who do you recognize as a speaker, as a patriotic Liberian who believes in how you saying the rule of law, Who do you see as the Speaker of the Republic of Liberia, considering all of the circumstances that are ongoing right now?
Who I consider to be Speaker of the House?
Yes.
Well, I mean, who's the person who's signing as Speaker of the House? I mean, is the Speaker of the House by law right now. By law. Because the thing is, the House is a political place. It's a political place. It's not just legal, right? I mean, if you were elected, but you cannot even call a meeting and have quorum, you should be looking at yourself. You should be looking at yourself. You know, Mr. Kofa should be looking at himself. So when you fight battles, you have to also be looking forward. You think those other people, the other speakers who were removed, you think they didn't see areas where they had rights and those rights were denied? But sometimes you have to put a nation first. Sometimes you got to put a nation first, and I get into I am right, and therefore, we should fight until the whole nation loses. So if I was in his position, I might just basically, because of the country,
you resign.
You let it go. Just like we need to, you need to just step down. He stepped down. He let it go.
So then where is the root of law, Dr. Gonpu? If the process, so are you saying the process that led to the removal of the speaker, do you concur with that?
Look, as I say, I believe that the House is more political than legal. Legally, legal technicality, you say that the fight should go on until they reach 49, right? Legally and technically.
Is that what the law
legal
says?
technicality. But that's not what the Constitution. That is not, you see, so the way, if you read the Constitution, you got to put it in context. You got to put it in context. You read the Constitution says this. But look at where we are as a nation. We need to focus on what will elevate us.
Okay.
We got competition to go on. So sometimes, you know, because of patriotism as patriots, sometimes you have to make some sacrifices. Because look at the cost to the nation. You're trying to implement one law. It's a rule of law. You know how many people's rights are being violated every day in Liberia? And those people are still living. So if you say that if your one little right or your right is compromised, then the whole nation should come down because of that one law. What about all the other laws in the nation? Our children deserve education. We're not even investing in their education. So
how we need to reconcile this? If a group of people comes out today and call because and there's a clear process even removing people, and that's what we're talking about, the process. There's a framework laid out. If a group of people come out today, okay, we don't want a president, we want a president to be removed. Should that be executed? But before that, I don't want to keep the call out for long. Breakable, go strictly to your question to our guest. Do you have a question?
Thank you so much for the show. First of all, before I say anything, how can Liverpool trust you when you not even know the horse that you want to go in? You say, I think I covered the horse you want to go in. You say, I think. And to the point, how will you protect the constitution when you are saying it's not happening in the horse? It may have reason because for moral. Why is it different between moral and protect the constitution? Okay. To protect the constitution and for morality. Why may to resign to be a moral and to protect the constitution and not moral?
Okay, thank you. Do you have an answer for
you want to respond? Or you want to take more calls?
No, I mean, he's off now. If a different call comes in, we can take that. I mean, if you want to respond to that, that's...
Yeah, I think the issue about the photo, we live in a war of AI, right? Artificial intelligence. People can make photos. So you cannot say this is 100% if you don't know whether it's 100%, because it's a photo, right? So to say that I think that is the Capitol building, I don't think that is wrong for me to say that. I don't think I was wrong. On the issue of the rule of law, yes, we all adhere to the rule of law, but we should also have common sense. We should also have common sense because sometimes you have to weigh the cost and benefit of certain types of action. If Snow, for example, had say, let's fight over this thing, how do we know where Liberia would have been today? Since the people didn't have 49 votes to remove him. If you take that thing to a certain level, the whole nation can descend into chaos.
Yes, no. Let me ask you.
In favor of the rule of law.
Let me see. And I know there are separate branches of government. From all that has been unfolding here, do you think the executive, directly or indirectly, was involved into this?
Well, I mean, the thing is, it is hard to tell. Personally, within myself, I think I have a sense of what has actually gone on. And it's not, they say man can talk all. Men can talk all. But the fact of the matter is that
Can you share
yourself
that?
said it.
Can you share that with us? That the sense.
Share what?
You say you have a sense of what's going on. I say, can you share that with us?
Well, it's political. The whole thing is political. It's difficult for you to say for sure who all are involved and how were those people motivated, right? And it's the same thing we're saying. People voting and not voting conviction. People voting and not voting, not choosing because they believe that a certain person can do the job, what have you. Okay? People voting because of incentive. I gave you this amount so that you can support me. So the point is, my question is, those who voted for Kofa, why did they vote for him? Did they vote for him because they saw within him the qualities that are needed? Did they evaluate him carefully when they made
Well, most of the people who took the action, most of them that voted for Kofa. And the reason, before I go to the next caller, the reason we are asking this here, because we want honest politicians like I know here. There are some people who stood their ground for the good of the country, their constituents, and for the rule of law. It caused them to pay a huge political price. Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzer of Illinois, all of those people, they stood against their party. They stood against what was not happening, that they felt was not right. And what happened? They paid the price. I've never seen that happening in Liberia. Everyone, politically correct, because they do not want to pay a political price.
No, you can pay political price. Your personal political price, your payment for personal political. When a survival of the nation is at risk, then you got to compare what happens to the nation versus what happened to me.
So
if my personal right has to be denied so that Liberia can go forward, then let me suffer that pain for my nation to go forward. So, to me, that is the view. That should be the view of a patriot. I cannot say, oh, my right is denied. I don't think it's a good idea. It's me to say my right is denied.
So let's be political. You want to go to political office, which is great here. Supposing for discussion purposes, you are a member of the House of Representatives in this current saga that is going on now. What could have been the positions of Dr. Gonpu?
Well, if I was a member of the House of Representatives, I would have said that I would have persuaded my colleagues that we should not put this idea on the floor that the speaker should be removed until we can count the votes and we make sure we got all the votes that are needed. And go beyond it, even 49, go beyond 49 before you strike. But again, it comes down to the issue of leadership and the people who are involved. We got a situation in the country where, like you were just saying, some of the cream of the Liberian crop is in the diaspora. And those people in the diaspora are also suspicious. They are also not united. And they are also what the word? The word is people are not, should I say, bold. They are not really confident that we have the power to come together to change our country. People always say, oh, the people think like this. Oh, Liberia, the way the Liberian politics is and whatsoever. If we here who have gotten this global exposure, global world-class education, cannot come together and say, well, the people think a certain way, we have to go and think differently and say, this is how we think. We don't have that confidence to do that. Then how is this country going to change? Who will change it?
Let me go to the next caller here. Mr. Clarence Davis is one of our followers. I want to welcome our man, Timothy, one of our prime time followers who always shares some great images with us, monitoring and joining our phone line, brother. Mr. Davis, good evening.
Hey, CEO, how you doing?
Good to have you here. Let me make you an Imayan here this evening here. Dr. Gonpu, is he your guy to go on Capitol Hill?
Yeah, Dr. Gonpu, I'm a son of Nima. When we are preaching Nima politics, it's very important that we sometimes take part in the discussion. The issue with our voter in the country in Liberia, many of these electing bad leaders. We need experienced people, we need career people to help people. Because if we continue, somebody who comes from selling plane, who only have an idea how to sell plane, we made that person the lawmaker. What the career do they?
Yeah. You're making a point.
We get power to people who don't know their left and their right. At the end of the day, when the country is going down, we really see people that elected these people will come by again and say these people are not doing nothing. So why you tell the janitor to make a janitor getting to be a principal for the high school? The janitor who not have a career, janitor who don't know nothing about education. What do you think the student in our school will learn?
Right.
So if we want for Liberia to go forward, we the voters don't make the sacrifices that will give people who are qualified to have the position, because today or tomorrow when they are not performing, we will hold them responsible. You told all that there is your career, but why are you not performing in the area? I think they will help our country instead of putting people because they may join over their body, this and that. So if they Senkoka, because you brought the issue of Senkoka and myself from the same district. See the war. Why has Senkoka done in the Booyah district over there? Because Senkoka from the same district where the lady just have done from. What are you doing? So if we were sit down and say, oh, because of the main job over there, body or this, we continue to bring bad leader up. Because I'm hearing again tonight on the CMC interview with this CMC political leader that they bringing Mike Bloom to go in to run for central position. And we will resist Mike Bloom because Mike Bloom was a special editor to bring Georgia in 1990. Another rebel, so rebel died, you bring another rebel there. So are we going to Robert Nima? That all the criminal getting that commander, may he do the work to continue to get that power? So if we want for Nima to go forward, we need people who will reconcile the country. We're not looking again for warrior to say, that warrior is over. We are not go back to war. We need people who have a developmental mind to be able to lead our country. Thank you for the show.
Okay. Now he has introduced a woman. You want to be a diplomatic politician because of your profession, you're a professor, with all of those things here. Now, are you ready? And that's what I would ask you. Are you ready to keep the high call conversations that will set you apart? That will be a game changer. That a glove's going to come this camp, because it is your political life. You put in your political life because you abandon all of the great stuff here, teaching, doing this and all of that. You're good. Without, that's an interior position, it's not like those people. And that's one of the problems. The reason these people are doing what they are doing because they are not professionals. They do not have no career. If you see most of the senators, the representatives here, they are career people. When they leave, in fact, besides those things, they get jobs, so they don't really care. But because our folks, they are not like that, they do everything possible, and it falls on all because we elect bad people, and then we turn that, you would think that these people are going to go away. But to the question here, are you ready to really take on the fight?
But the point of the matter is, as I said, I am ready. I am ready. I'm more than ready. And the way to do this is not to go around attacking people. Koga is my brother. We come from the same area. We speak the same language. There is no need for me to get into negative politicking with him. I would just ask him put your record on the table. You've been here for over 12, 13 years. I mean, the person who is co-chairing my campaign right now is from his district. So they're telling you, you know, what's going on there. You see? All I need to do is to take my kids to the people, educate them. This is not a crown that you just gave to somebody to wear. The legislature is a very serious place for a country that wants to go ahead. There is work in the legislature to be done. The work of the legislature is not just talking. A lot of the legislators' work takes place in committee room. Committee room. That's why it's a good thing to have some expertise when you go to the legislature. Because if you are an agriculturist, you work on the agriculture committee. You see, if you being a professor, you can work, you know, in the education, on the education oversight committee. If you are an accountant or you are an economist, you can work on the ways and means committee. If you are an international relations specialist, you can work on, you know, international affairs. So you got all these committees over there. When a bill comes to the House, when a bill is proposed from the president or from the president or from the Senate, when it comes to the House, it goes into committee room. And that's where you have to do the analysis, to do summary, and then to report back to plenary. So the man just, he hit the nail on the head when he said, if we continue to take, it's like taking the person who should be janitor and making principal at the school. And then we pray that God will help the janitor for the school to be successful. Look at Liberia, like any other country in the world. For you to go to law school, in most countries in the world, including Liberia, you must have a bachelor's degree. Bachelor's degree minimum before you can even become a law student, before you can go learn how to read the law and understand it. Then we send people to go make the law who are high school dropout, who are, because they got 3 shops, 3 stores, they built 3 stores, they got 10 motorbikes, that they got people riding the motorbike, and therefore we say they are business people. You know, the man was selling gas, so you say he's a businessman. Then, he got money. So he will help to solve poverty problems. Then you send him into the House to go make law. He does not even have the minimum that is required to become a student of law. So to be a lawmaker, shouldn't you be higher than even what is required to be a student of law? So we're destroying ourselves. We can't blame the people. It's hard to blame them because, like the caller just said, we take somebody, we say, oh, the man usually brings cell phone. He goes to Dubai and bring telephone and sell. And so he's a rich man. Let's send him to the House to be a lawmaker. Which law are you going to make? Which committee will he work on? And you have heard some of the lawmakers saying that they would never work on any committee. They would never work on any committee. I don't want to call name, but maybe you've heard it. Yeah?
No.
But which committee can they work on? Which committee? The man dropped out of high school. You know, which committee will you think he will work on? Which committee? Because when the documents come, you got to read. Making law is about reading documents, writing documents, right? You cannot just outsource the work. If you outsource the work, they still got to bring the result to you, and you got to read and say, oh, this law is good, or the law not good. So we continue to send, we look for rich people, say, oh, the man rich, so let's send him to the House. Oh, really? There are so many ways to get rich. Being rich does not make you an effective leader to go make policy for a whole nation. It does not. So I don't have to fight too hard. I basically just have to put my issues out there. The challenge that I have is to raise the funding so that I can reach each and every voter in the county, to have a simplified conversation with them. Those people who are illiterate, we discuss it in the GIO or the Mano, or the Mandingo, or the Pele, and let them make a choice. Let them make a choice. It's a choice making. When you make a choice, you bear the consequences of the choice you make. So if we want to keep this kind of stuff going on, then I will not feel guilty. I feel guilty when I know that I have been blessed to get the expertise I have. My people need that service, and I'm here providing the service to other people who got so many choices, who got so many options. Okay, so I feel guilty. So let me go and offer myself to the people. Tell them this is what I can do for you. This is my record. I came here. I managed your budget, over $400 million budget. I managed. We balanced the budget. We negotiated with the United Nations, the World Bank, and we were able to help to waive over $4 billion worth of Liberia's debt that were accumulated over all these years, right? I did those things for you, and I did not steal your money. My one house that I've been building in Liberia, I still have work to do on it. And the government even still owe me money. Because when I left from here to go work in Liberia, they said, buy your own ticket. When you come, we'll refund you. And I went to Liberia, and up to now, I'm not getting my refund. I'm not getting my refund. Right? I'm not getting my refund, my ticket. You see? So that's not a guy who is on a hustle ground. That's not a guy who is on a hustle ground. This is a guy who has been giving, an opportunity to learn, even the fellowship that brought me to the United States. I was selected and brought here for training to develop leadership skills so that I can go back and serve my country. That's the program I came on. None of my parents or even myself on Liberian salary who have afforded to go to Northwestern, where the tuition at the time was like $75,000 per year at the time. I don't know why it is now. Yeah, maybe over $150,000 now. You see? So it was a program that brought me for leadership development. And that same program also funded the guy who's president of Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, to the Ouattara. He came on that same leadership development program as well. The other woman who was president in Malawi, Joyce Banda, she too came on that same program. You see, to develop your leadership skills so that you can go back and be an asset to Africa. You see, so you got all these kind of institutions behind you.
Is there the leadership gap within the executive as well? I know you would talk about the legislature. What's about the executive? Is there a leadership gap?
What do you mean leadership gap? I mean, the executive needs to build capacity. I mean, again, as I said, I told you about the conversation I had with the president. I think that the president himself see that some of the people are not performing. So I would not be surprised if he's considering a major reshuffle, because again, all of these corruption cases we're hearing about, a lot of them have to do with people being put in places where they really don't fit. You see, and we also have problems. And again, the legislature can help with what's going on in the executive. That's why you have oversight. The Constitution says that one of the roles of that advice and consent role, it also means to be able to give ideas to the executive. The issue about salaries. Salaries is a major issue in Liberia. What is the rationale for how we pay people? We don't have a rational model that determines how people get paid.
Well,
so
you are former budget director. Were those issues addressed by Helen Johnson-Sirleaf? Because for the most part, and these sort of conversations have not been held but not extensive with respect. Some people say, well, what we have today in place, that was something that was in the system from Helen Johnson-Sirleaf. The CDC government argued that, the Boycott government is that nobody is taking assertive measures to get these things, because we're supposed to live within our reach, and that is not happening. People being paid, and the country just doesn't have the money. I thought when these people come in, come and rescue, we want to do this because we see the duplications of institutions, ministries. Some of these places, they need to be condensed. I mean, downsize government, cut down spending, but instead, people they take this traveling to be something as another way of creating huge burdens on government. You were there before. Was there anything put on? Was there anything that is being done now that was altered, that will perhaps stop this thing from the Helen Johnson Sirleaf government, as far as you are concerned?
Well, when Ellie came in the first term, in her first term, there was a lot of discipline in government, and the salaries were not as what they are today. The rate of growth in salary was very low, very low. And I recall even having some conversation with the president regarding my salary, because I understood that there were some people in government who were making very high salary, especially in the state-owned enterprises area. And the president herself told me that there's no money to raise salary. To raise your salary, there's no money to raise salary. What we're doing, we're here to sacrifice. So let's just sacrifice. You see, so in that first term, we were trying to get those debt wave. There were so many standards that the international community set for us. Okay, we could not borrow. We had to live within our means. We have to pay our debt. We have to be paying debt.
So that's Joseph Boyka was then vice president, correct?
Yes. That first term.
So he's aware of the problem.
Yeah, the thing is, here is the thing, my brother. The Liberian politics is kind of, you got to be, it's challenging to navigate, especially when it comes to that issue of appointment and patronage and whatever. Okay. So the president has this kind of issue where the political party that you come from, this is my view. Maybe I'm what goes on is like this. The president may come in with an agenda, a vision, promises that he made. Then now, instead of building a unity government, a national unity government, where you just look anywhere and pick the best Liberians you can find, then the political party comes up and say, Mr. President, we brought you to power. So you cannot bring anybody else in when we have partisans who need jobs.
Wow.
So that's the difficulty the president tend to fit. And so you put yourself in his shoe, in their shoes, and you see what they have to deal with. So you either dump your party in favor of the people, you see, or you favor your party and then you dump the people. So those are the kind of choices the president has to make. You can't have both, because like if you want to go for the people, then that means that when your partisan is not qualified for the job or it will not add value, then you leave them out and pick another person who is not even in your party for the sake of Liberia. So you need leadership that sees the trade-off, that sees the challenges, and then you make a decision. And that's the decision that is very difficult to make. You see what happened to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, right? In her first term, what happened? Somebody like me was in there. I didn't have any political party affiliation with them. And there were so many times partisans came with certain things they wanted to do, and I said, no, I kick it out. People got angry. Oh, he made that part of our party, and we want to do certain things, and he blocking it, right? And then sometimes the president will look into it I sit with the president, gave her my rationale, gave her, the impact on the country future and whatsoever. And she would just call all these guys and say, I agree with Dr. Gonpu. Everybody go and follow what Dr. Gonpu said because it makes sense. Okay?
That is a leadership.
That's leadership.
You got to be firm.
But that's the leadership. But that leadership, too, when you take those bold steps, it has consequences. Did you remember that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was expelled from her party? Why did she was expelled? And who participated in expelling her? Think about the players who participated in expelling her. So those are the kind of issues you got to deal with. So now when you go against your party,
cartoon names, let's hear. You are in the inner cycle, so you can have one.
You're part of the Liberian political thing, right? But I'm telling you, if when you're on the outside, you think it's just an easy decision. But the thing is, that's why you need people who are experienced, who are confident enough to make the hard decision and say, what am I going to put first? Am I going to put my party first, or I'm going to put my nation first? So if you put your nation first, and then the party comes second, the party is going to get angry. The party is going to say, this nation was not caring about you until we brought you to power. We are the one who are in the ring. You see? Okay. Now, it takes the president to sit with those people and try to persuade them that, look, this is just a temporary move. When this nation becomes better, everybody becomes better, including the party. So you got to persuade them. If you don't, they will throw you out of the party and embarrass you. Because what? The party is suffering. The party chairman doesn't have a job. The youth leader doesn't have a job. The other person doesn't have. Everybody. You see? So people don't get the point that this politics.
They all say they want to get a job. So
right.
Considering all of these things here, and you still want to go into this building.
But we consider all of these things, but Liberia is still there, and we are Liberians. Our parents have, we have inherited Liberia from our parents. So what do we do? Do we say, well, these problems too much, let's run away and come to where Donald Trump, is doing his thing and just be here? Is that the option we have? So because I mean, at one point I did think that, oh well, maybe over time Liberia will get better. But look how long it has been. Look how long it has been. It's because the best of our human capital is not being applied. You see, we got engineers who can build our roads. We got electrical engineers who can build our electrical system so that we have electricity all over the country. We have medical doctors, researchers, all of these people, they are all in the diaspora, waiting for the opportunity, waiting for things to improve so that they can come. How is it going to improve?
That's why they go from come. When they're looking for jobs, they come here, they raise the money all in the basement, people, places, and everybody.
Right. But I think that we in the diaspora have to take bold steps to know that we are more privileged because we can see both sides of it. We live, we've lived it in Liberia, and we live outside, and we see how other people have built their nations. It's a lot of sacrifice that has to be made. Nation building is not easy. Okay. But again, it doesn't have to be viewed as a way to enrich yourself. If you want to be, there is a lot of wealth in Africa, on the African continent. If you want to enrich yourself, it's just better for you to go into private business. But public service is really about making a difference, making an impact, making a historical impact.
All right, Dr. George Gonpu. Hopefully, when the real time is right for that, I think these are just preliminary yet. Exploring the process and all of that. I'm quite sure you're going to have your agenda, your vision, because when those are in place, and that's exactly what going to hold you accountable. But I believe that's an exploratory process you are in. Yeah,
I think the
nothing.
vision is already in place. We already have an agenda. We have a legislative agenda, and we have consulted our people. We've approached this thing scientifically.
But hopefully,
With
we can have access to data because that's exactly we don't want to talk on off cuff because thing that you're going to say because you're a politician. Right now, you're not a politician, but by the time you get in our capital here, man, they get people there who can initiate people. They will bring you in. They will sit down. You will have a coffee. You will have a drink and all of that. Welcome to the society, and sooner or later they get you ordained. And when you are ordained now, then you're in the bubbles. And when you are in the bubbles, then the car windshields get dyed. Only the tire will see flowing, and then the security now can give people a chance. And that's the problem we find ourselves.
No. I think for me, I think that would be impossible, and that's why we should continue to look for forward-looking leaders.
Right.
Because to me, I've thought about these things, but I think maybe what's going on here is people have to keep dreaming. In other words, if you're looking forward to being a senator, you got to also be thinking beyond that. That is, after I serve as senator, what else could I be? Could I be chairman could I be Secretary General of the United Nations? Could I be president of the African Development Bank? Could I be UNICEF leader or whatsoever? So if you are a dreamer who's looking forward, then any step you take, you will say that this step is the foundation for the next portion of the dream. Therefore, I must perform here. Because if I do not perform effectively as senator, the next dream I have, I'm not going to get support for it. But if you're thinking that being a representative is your dream job, once you get there, you're just going to sit down now and relax and enjoy, then you might say, well, I've reached my peak. So why should I, maybe that's what's going on, but I don't understand it myself.
Okay, Dr. George P. Gonpu, we want to thank you so much. But before we go, I want to give you the opportunity. If you want to, this is LPR, this is Liberal Public Radio. People at liberty to speak what they want to speak, to communicate, because after all, this message is going strictly to the bias. Probably someone missed it or somebody going to go back there. And the tone, the language is very, very much important. You want to speak the English, you speak it. You want to speak the Geo, you speak it. You want to speak the manner, you speak it. That will be a turning point for someone. So I want to give you the opportunity to funnel it, communicate with your constituents. And I'm talking about Nimba County, where you are desired and going in this political fight. What could be the closing message to those that are listening and might go back to listen to this? What are you going to tell them? I would say, wait a minute, I need to have a second thought. Somebody spoke to me in this event. Somebody talked about some ethical values. Somebody is talking about the kind of Nima County we want to see if he is a senator, and potentially the kind of person that we ultimately want to see when he takes more major political decision, could be the presidencies or whatever it is. What's your final message?
Well, again, I don't have a final message. I just want to, because this is a process, I hope we continue the conversation. I hope I get an opportunity to return in the future. I want to thank you for the chance to be here. I want to thank our listeners and our viewing audience for taking the time to be with us for this amount of time. I think they're taking time to listen, and you're taking time to discuss with me is another reflection of your patriotism, is the reflection of their love for the country. Liberia can be made second to none. It takes people to do it. We can do it. We've been blessed to have the mind to love our country. We've been blessed to be funded to develop the skills. It's time for us to put our minds and skills to work. We should not take leadership in our country lightly, because it's through leadership that we are a country. And that leadership is determined through the political process. So when it comes to decision making, we should not take it lightly. This is the time for Nimbayans to reflect on what they want their county to be. This is the time for Nimbayans to work in ways or make a decision in ways that people get to see the county for what it really is, the ambition of the people, the industrial capacity of the people, the friendliness, the love, the peaceful citizens that they are. So it takes a good leader who can go to this position to amplify those good things that are in the Nimba psyche. So I believe that if I get the help I need to raise the resources that are required so that we can invest in this campaign to educate our people, I believe that our people will make the right decision because they love their county, they love the country, and they know that this county can be a good example for the Liberia that we want to all live in. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the chance to be on your show, and I really enjoy the chance to talk to you.
Okay. When the real time comes, we're going to have a phase 2 of it. Don't hesitate. Your communication team, whatever visions, they can share those information, and we'll talk about it. And anyone who wants to speak for yours as well, just let us know. I want to say thank you very much because most often people run behind people to talk about that thing, but instead you were very open to you unveil yourself for us to have this sort of conversation without precondition. That itself shows another side of a good leadership. I'm not saying, but I always like to get a flower when you're like, but I really do appreciate your outreach to talk about what you have, because when Nimba produces someone good for the country, the possibility of having better Liberia is very, very, very much vital. All of the political subdivisions, all of these people, I do not have to come from Nimba to have a conversation with somebody who's looking for such a high-profile position. We must give everyone the opportunity to have these dialogues and not be judgmental whether they can do it, but let them get a side of the story. Thank you so much, Dad, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, then. Bye-bye. Okay, folks, there you have it there. Dr. George P. Gonpu is the senatorial aspirant for Nimba County. Man, Nimba will be heavily contested. We want to thank you so much to all our callers, our onliners, your tweets, your comments, your interactions. We say thank you so much. Fatu, how you managed to know that a guy went join majority black? Yeah, you're the one brought in majority black. You're just holy. And the main thing is you're going to join majority black. Hey, Timothy, my man, good to have you here a week at this time from Liberia. B, good to have you here. Emmanuel Tagawe, Maxwell, thank you so much. Alexander Boniface, Emmanuel, and all of our great people. Joseph K. Morris, Clarence, thank you for your call. Venetia, Teddy Lion Tenyako. The Weashans are based in North Dakota. To Martin Grisby, it's good to have you here as well. And all of you great people. We want to thank you so much. We'll continue to do this. If you know any of your folks that are contesting from your county, share those information with us. We'll try to reach out to them as well so that you know exactly who they are, what they want, what they have in store for your county. Don't leave a secret. Until then, folks, have a pleasant evening. And by God's willing, we'll be back here in the coming week for more programming. Until then, have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
go grab a nuevo. My nasa go grab a new. Gracias para pues para pone. Ya thank you. Solution. Ina ta nuevo. Niku malita julu ni menana. Mami. Malita julu mana. Josemu. Noa.
All right, that's how I want to leave it here. Have a pleasant evening. All right, that's a beautiful song there from Nimba County, making a contribution here this evening. So we're always here to promote the traditions of our country, and that's what we all should do. There's a good side of our country, and we must showcase. We say thank you so much. Have a pleasant weekend. If you are here in the USA, in Liberia, whatever you are, if you have an event and you need coverage, LPR is the network to deal with right here in the USA, in Liberia, and La Cote d'Ivoire as well. Let us know. We don't want to just ask for free money. We believe we should provide some services to you, and you pay us. There's no free money. Since I came in the country, I know $5, I know even funny. So you don't just give your money. Let somebody work for it, and then you give it. That's it. That's the Capitol building there. The place where all the holla all will come from. Well, until then, folks, have a pleasant evening. Thank you so much. Blessed weekend. If you are driving, whatever you do, please wash your back and take care. We choose the best of all. Until then, same time, same network. We'll be back here for more conversation. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.